In today's video, we are going to be deploying Dial from GitHub with a locally hosted model. We'll be following the tutorials on our docs site to deploy chat and vision models. We'll skip embeddings models for now. Also, we'll assume you already have Git and Docker installed on your machine. First, let's clone the repository and navigate to our Docker Compose for Ollama, which also includes our Dial installation. This Docker Compose file will spin up an Ollama server, pull the requested models, and connect it to our Dial config. Now, the fun part. We gotta select a model. As the documentation suggests, in theory, we support any model found in Ollama's search, but make sure the modality corresponds with what you're trying to do. Also, please keep in mind that many models don't support tools. We've highlighted a few that we've tested on our documentation. We are actively experimenting with new models and encourage community feedback on your favorites. Later on, we'll start up Dial with a vision model as well, but for now, let's start with the relatively small version of Llama 3.1. This 8 billion parameter instruct version is around 4.5 gigabytes. Once we've selected our model, we need to modify the .env file inside the Ollama directory with the name of our model to set the environment variables. Since we picked the chat model, let's just modify the chat model section. We'll run our Docker Compose up command, and we'll add the abort on container exit flag. In addition, we'll do the build command as well. We want to see the logs, especially on the first run through, so I won't run it in detached mode. You can see all the containers being pulled and created. Once the components are all pulled, we begin downloading the actual model. You can see the progress bar here. After a few minutes, you should see the Ollama setup container print "The Ollama server is up and running." This means we are ready to chat with the model. Let's navigate to the desired host and port, in our case localhost port 3000, and see what our default config with two models looks like. Let's pick our locally hosted chat model first and ask what it can do. Congratulations, you've deployed Dial with a self-hosted chat model. Now, let's repeat the same process for a vision model. I'll just pick the one suggested in the documentation, but please feel free to experiment and share your feedback with us. We'll shut down our running containers, add a vision model to our environment variables through the .env file, and rerun Docker Compose with the build flag. You can now see it downloading just the vision models, as it doesn't need to re-download the already obtained chat model. Once you see the same message, that Ollama server is up and running, let's navigate back to localhost port 3000 and select our vision model. Let's give it an image of a cat and ask what it thinks. Please note that some of these open source vision models can be quite slow to respond. Don't be alarmed if it takes a minute or two to process a simple small file. Now that you have Dial deployed with a chat and a vision model, you can chat with the models all you want and begin developing Dial applications locally. Please feel free to check out part 2 of the Dial Deploy and Develop Your First Application series for further instructions on how to develop an application. Thank you.